1 Hour Wargames by Neil Thomas, who also wrote this recently reviewed book, Sci-Fi Skirmish Scenarios. Had a couple of commenters down in the comments section ask me a question, why haven't we seen any of this lately? And I thought, man, it has been a while since we've seen the 1 Hour Wargames. Let's break it out. Welcome to the all-night, late-night request line. 1 Hour Wargames, forgive the cut there. It was a tragic Christmas present wrapping accident. Before we get to the game proper, let's take a look at this book. For those of you that are unfamiliar with it, it has a core mechanic, and it has a string of, see, here's rules for pike and shot, horse and musket, rifle and saber, ancient, all kinds of different eras, but the meat of this bad boy are the 30 different scenarios that you can play. So the first thing you have to figure out is which scenario are you going to play. But before we even get to that, I want to show you how I organized my 1 Hour Wargames collection. I have this box here, and as you can see, it is really dusty. I live out in the country. It's been a while since we played this. Everything I need is crammed into this one little box right here, from roads to rivers to figures. I, of course, use 6mm figures and casualty caps, really dice to track casualties. But this is what my 1 Hour Wargames box looks like, and I can play either of, using the figures in this box, I can play either the medieval wargaming rules or the Dark Age. Today we're going to do a medieval set, and I should warn you that these figures come from Irregular Miniatures, and man, they look great, don't they? Let's get them. Let's dial that in. So we've got a couple of cavalry units here. This is the good guys, the knights, and then this is the undead in a nice purple and green. So matched armies, we have the same number of units, kind of, at least in the collection. 10 units altogether. If you have 10 of these bases, which are, I just cut MDF, then you have everything you need to. Now, you're only going to use 6 at a time, but there's a random force selection, which we're going to see shortly. So once you have your 10 units for each side, you're good to go. As I said, 30 different scenarios, 30-sided die. It's a match made in heaven. Let's find out what we're playing today. And that looks like a 5 to me, scenario number 5. I don't know if we've seen this or not. It is Bridgehead. So here's your terrain setup. A square table. We're going to be playing, as usual, at half scale. We've got a river. We've got a crossing. We've got a hill over here. And we might need to tap into, I don't know if we have a hill or not, but we do have some woods over here. So let me set up the terrain. But and then look at this. Oh, we got some crazy reinforcements here. So I need to figure out which army is the red and which army is the blue. We're going to have a little roll-off, and I'm going to use the red dice for the guys in the red cloaks and the blue dice for the undead. Whoever rolls higher will be Team Red. So the guys in blue will be Team Red, and the guys in purple will be Team... Wait, the guys in purple will be Team Red, and the guys in red will be Team Blue. You know what? We're just going to make Team Red the guys in the red cloaks, because I can't keep track otherwise. I got enough to keep track of in this game. So what do we... Look here, Red Army, right? We've got a whole bunch of 2 units. Special deployment. It's kind of wonky, right? So this is kind of interesting. The important bit is that both armies have 6 units. Well, which 6 units do they have? We're going to roll 2d6. And you compare to this lovely little chart right here on page... Oh, it's at the start of the scenarios. There we go. So, because we are doing 6 units, then we roll the red army is going to have 4 knights, 1, what would that be? In this case, it's 1 men-at-arms, and I want to say 1, I'll have to double check this. I think it's 1, we're not going to have any archers for those guys, and I think it's 1 heavy infantry, and the men-at-arms is like light infantry. The undead, because we rolled a 2, we'll have 3 knights, 1 unit of archers, and 2 units of heavy infantry. I was wrong. Hey, it happens. Our red army has 4 knights, as I said, but instead they have 1 unit of archers, and they have the 1 unit of men-at-arms. That is correct. Over here on the side of the undead, though, the Necromancer has 3 units of cavalry. They have 2 units of what are called levies in this rule set, kind of low-rent units. These guys are levies. These guys are levies. And the guys that are lined up right here, these are our undead bowmen. The way the game starts is the blue unit gets to pick one side. One unit starts on the north side of the river. They have established a bridgehead. And we're going to put one of the tough units and knights kapow, right there within 6 inches. Now I am playing at 2/3 scale. Normally it's 6 inches for foot movement, 12 inches for mounted. I'm going to use 4 and 8. The archers have a range of 8 inches. As I said, the blue army is going to start with 1 unit on the table right near the bridge, which I think you can kind of see it right there. And then the red army is rushing units in to defend this like frontier or this flank of the army, and they're going to arrive piecemeal as the game goes on. Hey, look, just to show you, I have a little built-up area that I threw in there. These are all irregular miniatures for those of you that want to follow suit. So I just threw that on a quick little, I think that's like a 3-inch base. They had a little, little pond, for uncrossable. No one can cross this. And then we do have a couple of hills. This hill has a little ruin on it. It's been a while since I've seen these. They're kind of fun. And I think those slow movement by half. And if you are defending the hill, then, well, we'll get into the combat here in just a second. Red takes the first activation. A couple of things to point out. Each of our units has 15 hit points. You roll a d6 to attack. The knights do 2 extra bonus points, hit points of damage. Our heavy infantry take half damage. And I think that's it. I think our archers, when they roll, they do d6 minus 2 hits. Be that as it may, the red are going to take the first action on the first turn. And the way this works is every time units come on the board for Team Red, we roll a die. And on a 1-2, they come on here, 3-4, 5-6. The road gives you 2 bonus inches of movement if all of your movement is along it. So as you can see, one of them is going to come on here, and then the other will appear right there. And that's where they'll appear each time. They do get to move. They're 8 inches. They can pivot before or after they move, and 8 inches will put them right there. Although I think we'll back off just a little bit. I'm not going to do any pre-measuring. And the fact that these guys are coming on over here means that, and we'll measure kind of from center to center, and we're going to bring these guys just up to here. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm holding them there, is you want to be the first guy to attack. If you attack first, you do the damage. You only do your melee attacks on your half of the turn. Now it is time for Team Blue. We are on the bottom half of the first inning, and it is Team Blue's turn. Team Blue is going to do something unusual. Since they are on the road, they are going to be able to move, well, normally they can move 8 inches. They're going to sidle on up here, and then they're going to pivot. Now, you can pivot at the start and the end of your turn if you're not charging. If you charge, you can only turn 45 degrees, and then you move. Because they're on the road, we'll give them the extra couple of inches, and hopefully the line of hills protects them. We'll say the hills can be defended. They basically, when you're standing on a hill and you do combat, you take half as many hits as normal. But you can't charge over them, and they cut your movement in half. So these guys could move to contact, but they're not going to do that. That's the end of turn number 1, by the way. We're going to move on to turn number 2. We'll advance our turn counter. And now our red forces are going to go ahead and split up. And we're going to bring these guys up to 8 inches to here. And we'll bring these guys up to protect the flank to here. So if these guys now pivot to charge these guys, that's basically what we're angling for. Is go ahead and give them the charge first. We're going to bring guys on, I think, a little bit faster. And that's going to be the end of turn of Team Red's turn. Now on turn 2, we get our first reinforcements. These levy, these are the kind of scrubs for the undead. They're going to show up, and they're going to be able to move. Normally they'd move 4 inches. This time they're going to move 6, which puts them right there. They're almost to the bridgehead. They're not, they're not quite going to make it. So instead of bringing those guys on, we're not pre-measuring. If we take a look at the terrain as laid out in our book here, you can see that our river, let's go to scenario 5. Our river is actually just inside that 2-inch mark. So I think with the bonus movement, we're going to give it to them. So now any hits against these guys are halved. And of course, we're going to bring these guys, the skeleton cavalry will come into contact here. That way, they get the first hit. Cavalry, our knights, do d6 plus 2 hits. With a score of a 2, that's going to be 4 wounds to this unit here. And I'm going to use a little casualty dice. And if I can get it to stay on there. There we go. Then that's going to be the end of turn number 2. On turn number 3, Team Red gets 2 reinforcements, a unit of archers and a unit of heavy foot. These are men-at-arms. The men-at-arms are going to come on the road. That's good. We can sweep them down, lickety-split. The archers will come on over here. And they're pretty slow. We'll see what happens. With them on the board, we can do our movement. These guys, the knights, will charge at the levy on the bridge. The heavy foot will impact these guys in the flank. And our archers will go ahead and trundle on over. Remember, they only get to move 4 inches, so it might take a while for them to work their way around the woods. In fact, that's probably the worst place for them to appear. If they'd appeared over here, they could come down and start firing at reinforcements. As it is, they don't have the range to hit this point, so we're in trouble. I'll tell you who's really in trouble is these knights over here, because they're going to take a full shot from the knights of the good guys who are going to do 3 points of damage, and then because they're getting hit in the flank by these men-at-arms. Now, the men-at-arms only do 1 die, but 6 hits, and that might be doubled. So that might be the 15 points that completely eliminates that unit. Yep, that'll do it. This cavalry unit now is out of the game. So they go back in the box. Meantime, we have one more attack down here. This attack will be D6 plus 2. That's a little cocked. Let's try it again. 5 points. You round in favor of the attacker. That's an important thing. So 5 points. Cut in half becomes 2.5. That becomes 3 casualties for this unit right here. And the way, remember the objective here, if you don't have an enemy on the north side of the river within 6 inches, you win the game. So at this point, red is looking pretty good because if they can just hold the bridge, the enemy won't have any units on the north side of the river. Probably, so in retrospect, probably would have been a good idea to bring that other cavalry on, but I mean, they would have taken a beating as well. So, I don't want to second guess myself at this point. On turn number 3, our team blue gets to bring a reinforcement on, and this time they're going to bring on some archers who will move 4 inches to here, and then turn something like that, and that's all they're going to be able to do. We're going to bring them up over here, and they're going to start launching arrows at the reinforcements. The levy now get to attack this unit, and they do, I'll have to check. I think the levy do D6 damage. We do not cut them in half. They do just the regular D6 because the blue guys are defending. So I'm going to put a little D6 there. And that will be the end of turn number 3. Moving on to turn number 4. Let's check and see if we have any reinforcements. On turn number 4, we have 1 unit. Blue army gets a unit from point D. Red army does not get any reinforcements this turn. And it is red army's turn. So we'll move our archers another 4 inches and spin them something like that. You turn on the center point. These guys are going to turn. They're going to move a full 8 inches over to here, and they'll turn like so. And then we'll march these guys up along the road. Normally 4, because they're on the road, we're going to go 6. And I think we'll just hold them right there. So red is looking pretty good because there's just not a whole lot of firepower on the side of the red. But the archers are going to complicate things a little bit. So the knights are going to go ahead and take their second shot. Once again, they do 5. That's going to add 2 more wounds to this unit. And that will be it for Team Red. Now, as I said, Team Blue gets a reinforcement on turn number 4. And this time we'll go ahead and bring on, I think you got to bring up another unit of cavalry. So that's these guys. And they're going to come up right here to plug the gap. That's going to be their movement. Our archers are going to... Range is 8 inches. You can move or shoot. We're going to put them right there. And in retrospect, probably would have been better to bring them over here where there's a lot more staging ground. But with the fire arc or something like that, they are now going to be able to start targeting this unit. So they may be able to start scaring troops off. Did we roll for these guys' attack? That's the last thing we need to do. So our levy do 4 points of damage, taking the knights to 5. And that is the end of turn number 4. And let's go ahead and change our shot. All right. Yeah, we just got a little lower. That's about all we can do. The Red Army at the start of turn number 5 is going to bring on 2 more units. All they have are 2 units of cavalry. The first is going to appear over here on the left flank. Their right flank, rather, left as we look at it. And we'll be able to move a total of 8 inches from the edge. So that goes to right about there. And they're going to have to wing their way around. You can only move in straight lines, which is a little bit awkward, but that's all right. And a 5 means our other cavalry is going to be swinging in from this point over here. So they're going to wind up right about there. So wave after wave of reinforcements. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot we can do. I guess we could bring these guys back out of range. We can bring our archers up and pivot, and we'll get in a nice little archer duel here, but that's really about it for the moving. And our archers can't even shoot first, so we'll go ahead and do the 1 punch that we got, and that is going to do a whopping 3 points of damage. Well, 1.5, it's going to be 2. We're not doing great there, guys. You guys are supposed to, well, I mean, they are knights. Why would you expect them to do well in a slogging battle there? And that's going to be the end of Team Red's turn. Unfortunately for Team Blue, they get another unit, and we're just going to add to the traffic jam. They have another unit of cavalry coming on, and that's about it for them. They're going to hang out right there. But now we have 2 shots. We can take a shot here. That's D6 minus 2. And they'll do 2 points of damage to the archers. And then our boys over here are going to do 2 more points to the knights. So the levy are really, they're doing a really good job there for the Necromancer King. I guess the skeletons are a little tougher than you might have expected them. And these bases are not built for this. So there's 7 wounds there, and we need another die here to put 2 wounds down. And that will be the end of the turn for our Team Red. I'm sorry, so that was Team Blue did their shot. We are now on to turn number 6. And on Team Red's turn, once again, there's not a lot they can do. They can kind of wheel into position here. They can get a little bit closer. I mean, I guess maybe what we can do is we can bring these guys, they'll pivot, they'll race over here to get out of the way so these guys can get through. But that's really about it, right? This unit has taken 4 wounds. This unit's fresh. So this unit of knights can pile onto the bridge. And then we do our shooting. So our shooting will hit these guys and do a total of 0 points of damage. And our knights are going to do D6 plus 2. These knights are terrible. They are just rolling miserably. They're only going to do another 2 points of damage. So up to 10 points for this levy, or maybe this levy just, maybe they found some halfway decent armor. But that's the end of Red's turn. Now Team Blue gets to go. And Team Blue gets 1 more set of reinforcements that all they can do is bring them on the board. 4 inches of movement. Yeah, that's good enough. So it's just a fight for the bridge at this point. I was hoping that unit over there would have lasted a little bit longer and something interesting would have happened. It becomes just a bit of a dice roll-off. Team Blue is going to attack and for their part, they might be pretty robust, but as far as staying power, but they're not doing a whole lot of damage. These levy are not punching very hard. The archers, on the other hand, are doing another 3 points of damage to their counterparts across the river. So blue archers having some effect. We're on to turn number 7. And honestly, I think this is not good for Team Blue. As long as Team Red holds the bridge, Team Blue is in trouble. On to turn number 7. All that Team Red can do now is fire these archers at these archers, and we'll call that a 3. So, hey, look at that. 1 point of damage. And that will do it for those guys. 1 point of damage. Yeah, these dice are a little too small for my static grass there. And then let's see, guys, knights. Come on. Let's see, not a 1. Oh, we got a 2 this time, which becomes 4. Which brings this unit of levy up to 12 points. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Divide in half is back down to 2. And we really need to do 3 more points on the next turn. That's all we can do. But for their part, all that Team Blue can do is roll a d6 here. And they're going to do a whopping 6 points of damage, which I think, that's 15. That will eliminate the knights from contention. And then our archers will take another shot. and they will do another 3 points of damage to the archers across the way. So the red archers are soaking some damage, but they're really not doing a whole lot in return. And here's where the game gets a little bit sophisticated. So 8 damage here, only 1 there. We move on to turn number 8, and although the bridge has been cleared of enemies from the team blue perspective, the Necromancer King has a problem because, yeah, I cleared him, but before I move, another unit just fills in. And not only that, but this unit is going to get the first attack. And let's see if this unit's any better. There you go. 7 points. That does 4. That clears this unit of levy out of the fray. Finally, just exhausted there at the bridge. Our archers now, are they motivated? And look at that. They're so impressed with the charge of the knights that they're going to fire off a volley that does 4 points of damage to these archers themselves. I am ruling that you can't fire into a melee. That seems authentic to the period. Team Blue will bring their knights up. And, oh, look at that. Now, these knights are on the attack, and these knights are defending. Remember that before, the levy held the bridge, but because these knights were able to move into the spot occupied by that levy, now the human knights are on the defense and the skeleton knights are on the attack. So when our skeleton knights attack here on the bottom half of Team 8 and do, 8 points of damage, that still only counts as 4 points of damage because now our human knights are on the defense. Then our archers, who have been doing a pretty decent job there, are going to fire off and do 1 point of damage, which takes their counterparts to 9 hits. And a couple of more good rolls, and those archers will be eliminated as a force, but the clock continues to tick. We are on to turn number 9. And on turn number 9, these guys that's right. On the last turn, they drove the enemy off. So now this will be the first chance that these guys get to, we'll just kind of bring these guys around here, I guess. So the human knights. So the second unit of human knights is going to get to counterattack, and this will be at full strength. 7 points worth of damage to these guys. And we'll put down a 6 and a 1. And these little dice are probably too small for you to read, but that's huge, man. 7 points of damage. And then the human archers will fire at the skeleton counterparts and do 2 more points of damage, which will take this die up to 6. So they're only at 7. After all of these turns, the skeleton archers still have 8 hit points left. That's the end of the turn. Let me pause for a moment and just point out that some of these scenarios have a lot more maneuvering in it. This is boiling down to another 8 turns of just rolling d6s against each other. Bear in mind, this same scenario would be very different if you were using the World War II rule set. The World War II rule set has mortars with indirect fire. It has tanks, and infantry units. A lot more shooting, a lot less melee. In a game like this, single choke point, no way to cross the river. What you see is what you get. It just becomes a dice off. Our skeleton knights are the only ones that can attack in melee. They are rolling a 3. That is going to do 2 points of damage to the knights on the other side of the river. They're up to 6. The skeletal archers will roll and do 0 points of damage. On to turn number 10. Feeling pretty good if you're a human. And the knights are going to do a total of 6 points of damage, which will take... I'm just going to drop another die on these guys. That will take the skeletons on the bridge to 13 hit points of damage. They've only got 4 left. The human archers will fire back, and this time they will get 0 points of damage to the skeleton archers. We're on the bottom half of turn number 10. Let's do the archers first this time and see what happens. 0. Now the knights are going to roll, and they do 8. Cut that in half, and that becomes 4 points of damage. That's not too bad, man. They're kind of holding their own here. If they can last one more turn, I think we'll count that as a success for those skeleton knights. But their turn is over, and the clock continues to run. On turn number 11, let's try the human archers. Are going to do 1 point of damage, taking the... And this may be the difference, too. If these archers can knock somebody out of contention, that could be huge. Then the knights in front are going to do a whole lot of damage that will remove the skeleton knights from the bridge. And that's it. The skeletons only have 3 units left. We're going to bring up the knights, since we only have 4 turns. And those knights will get the first attack, so they got that going for them. They do 6. Cut it in half becomes 3 hit points, and now our human knights are down to just 13. They've taken 13 damage. They've only got 2 points left. I don't think, yeah, you know what? They're going to die next turn. They're guaranteed they're going to die next turn. Because there's no way for the knights to do less than 2 points of damage, even with the half damage going there. All right, we do have the archers still have to take a shot at the other archers, and with a 2 points of damage, that will take the human archers up to 11 points of damage. On to turn number 12. We've only got 3 turns left. Red gets to go. What do the archers get? The archers do 1 point of damage down here, taking the skeletons up to 9, and the knights, with their last attack of the game, are going to do a total of 6 points of damage. So at least they're going out with a bang, and that's it for Team Red. Team Blue is going to start by eliminating this unit, and oh, well, that's interesting. Now the Team Blue is going to be defending. Still, I don't think that matters. Archers are going to fire at... Should we fire over here now? Those guys are in range, aren't they? At 8 inches? If we could do a couple of points to these guys... Oh, they're just out of range. Front to front, they're just out. Those guys are out. All they can do is fire at these archers, and they will do 4 more points of damage, which eliminates the archers. They were at 11. The human archers take their 15th hit point of damage, and they're out of the game. That's it for now. We only have, a couple of turns left. We're on to turn number 13. What 12? There's no 13 on my 12-sided die, but there is on my D20. So we got 3 turns left to go, and who are we going to bring into the fight? Do we want to bring our battered knights? Here's what we're going to do. We got 3 turns to go. Or do we bring these guys? Now, I didn't check the distances for these guys. And I think, you know what I think we're going to do? We're going to bring, so these guys can move 8 inches. And we're going to bring them up to right there. We're going to bring these guys up. How far can these guys move again? These guys can only move 6 inches. Yeah, tell you what we're going to do. Actually, I tell you what we're going to do. Let's do this. Let's bring these guys up 4 inches to there. We'll bring this unit of knights into the fray. I think that was a 6 on these guys, wasn't it? And then we're going to bring these knights, boop, 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 and they're going to end right there. And the reason we're doing that is that now our archers are going to have to shoot at the men-at-arms who take half damage. So it's D6 minus 2, half damage. They're only taking 1 or 2 points. The archers aren't going to be able to fire at any of our other knights. These knights charge, but now the skeletons are defending. So the 5, cut it in half, becomes 2.5. That's 3 points of damage to the skeleton knights on the bridge. And when the skeleton knights attack in return, they're doing full bore damage. 3 plus 2 is 5 damage to this unit, which takes them up to 9. So the human knights on the bridge are already down to just 6 hit points. But it's the human... Oh, and then the archers are going to fire at the men-at-arms, and they're going to do a total of 0 points of damage. The men-at-arms will come up here and start making fun of them because we're already on turn 14. And given that the men-at-arms are here to soak and draw aggro, we can bring our second unit of knights all the way up here. What are you going to do? On the attack, we're going to do just a scant 4. Oh, we're only going to do 2 points of damage, which takes this cavalry unit up to 11 points of damage. They've got 4 left. And if I can get the 5 to stay on there, I'll just roll it and see if it... Hey, 1 in 6 chance, and it came up just the way I needed it with a little bit of coaxing. And that's the end of Team Red's turn. So our archers will fire first, and they'll do a total of 3. Cut it in half. That's going to do 2 points of damage to these guys. They're never going to take them out in time. So I don't even know why I'm wasting time doing this, except that I'm a wargamer. I got to just keep trying. I got to give it a shot, And then we're going to do our full 7 points of damage which will eliminate this unit from contention. These skeletons have cleared the bridge. They're still on the defense, but that's the end of the turn, and we move on to turn number 15. And I wonder if this would be a lot more interesting if, when you eliminate a unit, this might be the way to play this scenario. If you eliminate a unit, you can immediately move up and take that position. Skeleton Knights probably still wouldn't do that because it would expose their flank and they'd get crushed from either side. Remember all those units we had on the outside? So this is probably the best they can do. Our humans are going to go ahead and our warm bloods are going to charge in, and they're still on the defensive. They're only going to do 2 points of damage to this unit, which takes them up to 13. And am I out of dice? No, here we go. So we're already in 11. And on turn 15, they were hoping for a big roll. They might, if they rolled a 6 and done 4 points of damage, they would have destroyed these guys. But as it is, they did not. So just there you go. They've taken 13 points of damage. And then the archers will fire here, and they will do 0 points of damage. And the skeleton knights will do a total of 3 points of damage, and that's the end of the turn. The good guys, the warm bloods, the guys, the fleshy sacks of hit points, have beat the bony sacks of hit points. They have units within 6 inches on the north side of the river. The other guys don't. And that's the way the dice fall. Maybe should have used that unit to stand on the bridge and they would have stayed a little bit longer. But a big part of this fight, remember, is that we didn't have the skeletons rolled 2 levy. They didn't have that extra cavalry unit. And again, I just think this unit, this particular scenario, because the medieval warfare rules are so melee heavy, and because you've got this one choke point that drives all the action, I don't think it's great for the medieval. We probably would have done better by rolling something other than scenario 5. For the record, this game was derived from another, I'm quoting now from Neil Thomas's 1 Hour Wargames. This game was derived from Charles Stuart Grant's splendid scenarios. Neil Thomas especially wanted to explore the idea of both armies arriving piecemeal with the added complication of a disorganized red defense as the red general responds to the unwelcome surprise of the blue incursion. And we explored it. It was fine. Bit of a roll-off. But you guys asked for it. And if nothing else, I try to be a gracious host. Hey, want to see something fun? See my little forest over here? I can take the trees off, and I can put a unit right in the forest. Not in these rules, because the forest, you can't move through the forest, but I guess if I use I think in the medieval rule set, the skirmishers can move into the woods, and then they take half damage, and it's kind of fun. There's some interesting things going on in this rule set. The melee is really not where the gravy is, but the melee is fine, and it was a fun game. Thanks for asking for this. I had a good time exploring piecemeal defenses. See you in a couple of days. Until then, I'm praying for you.